Hello and welcome back. I'm Shayna Cersei and I'm so excited to paint another watercolor journal page with you. So today we're going to do a landscape and I'm excited for this one. A beautiful, bright and colorful sky tonight has inspired this one for me. So that's what we're going to do today. A bright and bold, colorful sky, but I'm going to be using some white mixed in with my paints, and I'll get to that later, but it's not something I usually do on a regular basis. Every once in a while I bring it in. All right, so for our landscape we're going to do super simple. I'm going to give myself some kind of like mountainy background here. Not going to fret too much over it. A little bit of a horizon line, so we got two overlapping, a little line. I'm definitely going to put in some darker trees. That's going to help punch up the glow and the contrast later on, and you'll see. And then down on the ground here, I was thinking about putting in like a river or a stream, but I'm actually going to put in just some big like puddles, or like after a big rain when things just kind of get soaked. I am going to see if I can translate that into some water kind of laying on the ground that's going to reflect to the sky. All right, so that's what we're doing for that. And we're going to get started. Okay, so I am painting in my Bow Hung sketchbook, 100% cotton paper, 140 pound cold press. I am going to be using my silver black velvet brush today. This one is a size 8. And then I'm using my Core Paints QOR by Golden. I have it zoomed out a little bit here so you can really see my whole palette. So hopefully that works for y'all. And we are going to get started with some really fun colors. So I'm going to start with Phthalo blue. So a little bit of phthalo blue, and then I'm going to add some white to it. So you see I have white here in my palette that I rarely use, and it turns the color a nice opaque pastel-y version of itself. And what I'm trying to invoke here is a little bit of a spirit of gouache or acrylics. I want these paints to be a little bit thicker, a little more opaque than they normally are. I want to see some of my brush strokes, I think. I'm just going from an angle this way. Don't worry, we're going to add in lots more colors. All right, so now as I work my way across, I'm going to pull out some magenta, add some phthalo, get this really pretty purpley blue color, and add some white. So phthalo blue, magenta, and white. And I'm going to mix these together. And you can see I'm really using my brush stroke to kind of leave some streaks and some strokes. That is on purpose. I'm going to pick up some more blue down here. Okay, now to the other side. This is where I'm going to bring in, actually I'm going to bring in cadmium yellow, medium hue, with some of this yellow. Now I'm just going to be careful with these near each other because they will start to mix together to make green or like funky colors when you mix yellow and blue or yellow and purple. But then I'm also going to create a nice peachy color. This to be more orange, lighter, more water, more, there we go. I want to be careful it doesn't get too muddy. And you can see I'm being very loose and expressive with this. It's actually drying a lot faster than I anticipated. And I am embracing cauliflowers in this sky. if they happen. I want to go a little darker, a little more purpley, I think, with this section over here. There we go. All right, I'm going to kind of leave it. Maybe pop in just a little bit of darkness in a few spots right here of a darker orangey yellow. So what happens when we put darker colors next to lighter colors and we create contrast, it makes the lighter colors or brighter colors take on more of a glowing effect. Okay. So this is kind of a split sky with these two colors, but I think it looks really fun and fabulous. All right, so let's get into our landscape features here. And actually, let's get into our water first. So I'm going to take some of these colors from up above, and we are going to mimic them down below. Some yellows. Drop in a few purples here and there. And again, you're going to see when we add in the other color, I'm sorry, the area around these, that it's going to help make them really pop. Sorry, I keep pausing. I'm just pulling out a little color. I want these to be a little bit lighter than what's above. All right. So it looks like a kaleidoscope of craziness going on right now, which is fine. We're going to let this all dry, and then we're going to come in and put in our darker contrasty pieces that represent the land and the trees, and we are still going to have some brightness in some of the areas, but some darker, deeper, richer tones that are going to really make everything else kind of pop. All right, we're back, and this is dry. Now, some of you, I'm realizing maybe that was a little intense, like right off the bat. I kind of jumped right in and was just plopping in color left and right and going really quickly. And yes, I get that was a little fast and intense, but at the same time, I was painting very intuitively and expressively, and I want you to do the same. I want you not to think about it too much. If you do want to think about it a little bit and really plan it out because you're not super comfortable with it, the only thing I want you to really plan out is creating maybe your colors first that you want to use. Make your yellow and peachy color, your blues and your purples and magentas, so you have everything ready to go. But then I want you to just go and just try not to blend things too much together to create this very painterly feel, and then stop. Okay, that'll be the hardest part for everyone, including myself, is to stop and let it be and not blending everything together into a muddy mess. I'm curious to see how you all did, or how you all, if you're just watching, like pre-watching this, let me know how you feel like you're going to do if you are going to try this one, if that is a concern for you, being able to start and stop this very painterly sky. Okay. So I'm going to use some green gold. If you don't have green gold, you could use one of your greens and mix it with yellow. But I love this color. I am going to start with that kind of in my hills back here. And we're going to put in darker color on top of this, but this is definitely going to represent the reflection of some of what's going on in the sky and this bright kind of glowing sensation that these beautiful sunsets give us. So I'm just going to paint this in, and I'm going to cover a lot of it up later with some darker color, but I want it to be available in there to be able to kind of poke through and show glimpses of this beautiful, vibrant sky. You can leave some white areas, that's fine. All right, so there, that is on, and I keep running into my, I'm so sorry, my ruler hangs off my desk. I have like this custom hanging thing, but if I bump it, it makes that tingling sound, so I'm sorry. All right, so I'm using Sap Green and Payne's Gray. And now I'm gonna start to kind of paint in much darker areas. I'm just gonna swoop down here across these hills, rinse off my brush, and blend some of this out. So kind of glazing over the top of it, but still leaving some areas nice and bright. Let's go a little bit darker in a few areas. And we're going to put some trees in here too that are going to be dark and backlit. So, all right, so that's done. Let's go around the edges of some of these little pools. But again, we're going to leave some spots with that bright yellowy green kind of peeking through. I'm going to dry brush my way through some of it so you can see this kind of fading off. There's not a lot of paint on my brush. I'm going to get in here. We're going to put in some more details with kind of some grasses poking up like this around some of these pooled areas. And even some texture, some vertical texture here kind of throughout this landscape, a little bit of a wildness to it. Look how fun this is. Are we having fun? I hope y'all are having fun. I know landscapes aren't everybody's cup of tea, especially kind of loose and wild ones. I definitely love and enjoy them every once in a while. And I love kind of mapping it out in my sketchbook and then painting much larger, grander versions. I'm just using the very tip of my brush, like I said, to create a bit of a wildness to this. You know, I can take even a little yellow or that gold, that green gold, and add some of that here too, to give a little brightness to a few. And then I think I'm going to add a little bit of texture to the little water pools that I have here. But I'm also gonna, okay, so I think I'm ready to do trees. Things are dry enough up here. So we're gonna go really dark. This is still green, but it's got a lot of Payne's Gray in it. And these trees, for all intents and purposes, they're pine trees, they are backlit. They're already like a dark color to begin with, but the backlighting is going to kind of cast them into shadow. But you are going to be able to see some bits through them. However you paint trees, I don't always paint them the same way, especially pines. So while I'm painting these, I will just put a shout out to all of you who keep coming back and watching. Thank you so much. You guys are fabulous. All of your comments and my faithful watchers, you guys know who you are. You comment on every video and you're so gracious, and I'm so grateful. I love sharing all of these things with you all, and I love making this part of the way I live my life and make my living. So thank you so much for letting me do that for all of you. This tree is a little crooked. Let's see if we can straighten it out. It's gotta, I think, well, it is what it is. And a special thank you to my super thanks contributors. You guys are amazing. And if you also want to be a super thanks contributor, you can be. There is no need to be or obligation, but I am so grateful for those who are. And you can do that just by finding the little super thanks icon below the video. I think should be there. There we go. Look at that. Look at that beautiful, kind of gorgeous sunset with this wild trees and grasses and mountains. All right, so I'm just going to add a tiny bit of texture. That sky is like giving me all kinds of good feels. I love it. I hope you guys like it too. What do you guys think? You tell me. Tell me, do you hate landscapes? Do you love landscapes? Are you inspired to do landscapes even though you have never really enjoyed them before? Or do you want to try them? All right, so I'm just taking some of that purple color and I added just a bit of texture, dry brush texture to the surface of some of these little pools here. Just so we can tell there's something going on there. Okay, I think we're done. Let's take off our tape. And while I take off our tape, I'll remind you to check out the description for links to supplies and materials that I use regularly in this video and otherwise. Don't forget to leave a comment. I'd love to read your comments. They give me inspiration always. And like and subscribe if you haven't already done so. If you're new here, welcome, welcome, welcome. So great to have you here enjoying this watercolor journey. And there we have it, our beautiful landscape where we used a lot of white in our sky. We made this very pastel looking sky, very different than others that I've done before, but I love it. Very painterly, almost like gouache, but not quite, you know, somewhere between watercolor and gouache. So thank you for following me. And this tutorial, I'm Shayna Cersei for another watercolor journal day, and we'll be back soon for our next page very shortly. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see y'all soon. Take care, y'all.